All right, we're live. Never done this before. You're going to get to be able to say, I remember when I was a boy, I watched Wolf Bronsky on his first terrible live stream. His microphone sounded terrible, and the lighting was weird, and he just kept talking like an old man and impersonating what he thought I was going to sound like when I was older, remembering the event. And I'm happy that you're going to get that opportunity. And I'll say something similar, I'm sure. So, Absolute Batman, absolutely awesome. Super, super surprising. I thought it was just going to be, I don't know. I thought it was not going to be that great. I am not the biggest Scott Snyder fan, which is, I guess, like maybe blasphemous almost. But I mean, I feel like a lot of the Batman Who Laughs was just a little dark for me. And so I'm thinking, okay, we got the guy who did the Batman Who Laughs is now going to do something in this dark side powered universe. That's going to be pretty bleak, pretty depressing. But it wasn't. It was fun, which I think is kind of been missing from some of Scott Snyder's stuff. He's a great writer. I mean, some of the like going back to the Batman Who Laughs, there's a scene at the very beginning, like I think it was maybe the first issue, and Batman's chasing down these people who have these wide load trucks, and they've got these, I think they were row houses that they were moving, and it was cool. It was like it's very cinematic, and in this comic, he kept that. He kept all the great things about what I like about him as a writer, but then added in some of that old fun that I'd been missing. And not only that, the more important thing is that there is a ton of potential. The not Easter eggs, but the threads, the loose threads that he's got out there are they have a lot of potential. So we start out, we got Batman. He's cool. He's Batman. You know, Batman's always going to be cool. Uh, Bruce Wayne, it's funny. This Bruce Wayne, he's big and he's strong, but he kind of seems like a jerk. There's that scene when he's in the gym and he tells the guy to move so he can get to the heavy bag. And I don't know. I didn't like that very much. I thought it could be a little more polite than that, but I don't know the full situation. I wasn't there. The guy was kind of blabbering about some girl that he was trying to date. And, I guess he was trying to get his confidence up. So that might have been annoying. I don't know. So there's that. And then I almost feel like they write the normal Batman, the main universe Batman, very almost not affected by his richness. They never show him being an entitled silver spoon kind of guy. But and the reason I mention that is because I feel like that's sort of the negative things that you would associate with being uh, super super rich. Maybe he doesn't feel that because his parents died, and maybe that has an effect. But he didn't seem like that. And there was a scene where in the zoo, Bruce is talking about how he thinks this lion is cool. Let me fix this light. I'm sure that looks just too weird for y'all. But say, yeah, he's talking about this lion, and his dad's like, oh, he's coddled. He'll never affect anything. And I couldn't help but feel like that was a dig at main universe Batman, which obviously Scott Snyder's written a lot of main universe Batman, and he's not anti-Batman by any stretch, but I don't think of that Batman as, I guess you could say he's coddled, even though he goes out and gets the crap beat out of him. But he's definitely has some effect on the world. It's almost like that old, people always accuse Batman, people who are not fans, they're always saying he should just donate money, and then that solve a lot more problems than him going out and beating up the criminals. I think that they're maybe somehow thinking that this is some kind of police brutality or something, maybe. But I almost get the sense that this Batman would maybe feel that way. He kind of seems like that sort of dude. I don't know if I'm gonna like him. As Batman, he did have one great line where, if you've seen that scene, I hope you've read the book. I probably should have said this, and I guess I'll say it now. I mean, just tons. This is just going to be pretty much all spoilers. I gave my first thoughts right after I read it. I was like, "This is so good. I gotta talk about it." But these are my second thoughts, and the more that I think about it, the more that I feel like there's some depth to it. So we've got this Batman who's cuts the guy's hand off, and then he says something like, they can reattach those sometimes, and then he tells him where the hospital is, and the way that it was written was humorous. That whole scene is probably the best scene in the issue. It's just pretty much beginning to end. First of all, it's a powerful moment. I didn't realize it at first, but as I was looking through it again, I realized, oh, his dad told him, whatever you do, don't open the door. And then at the beginning of that scene, he says, whatever you do, don't open the door. And so that's like, oh, he is kind of saying that same thing that his dad said. He's um, trying to live up to his dad's legacy or something. His dad saved them, and now he's out there saving people. And Alfred says that he can tell that he's been waiting for this moment. And you listen to Alfred kind of go over all the things that Batman had did. He worked in sanitation. Um, he worked on the electrical grid. He worked in sewage, everything. He worked on the buildings, the skyscrapers in Gotham. So he was the kind of guy who really, he knows it all. He studied everything that you could possibly study in the best school in the state. He went off to, he got a scholarship, got a football scholarship, then he fakes an injury. I thought that was pretty cool. But I feel I've gotten off track. Excuse me. So he says, he goes up to he says, don't open the door. And he is just very brutal, beats the crap out of all these people. But there's two scenes that are so cool, or two panels, I should say. They're, I don't know, it's maybe like a double panel. And they have on the first one, they show all the people just totally just beaten up all behind him, and he's telling these people to get out of his way. And then the next one is everybody has gotten out of his way. So something about that look on the stairs was it was great. Now, the other characters, pretty much everybody is great. There's the future Killer Croc, who I am curious to see if these people who we know as being bad people, are they still going to be bad, or are they going to be good now? Um, so you talked about Oz has gotten in some trouble, We don't know what, or he hadn't actually gotten in trouble, but he says he's gonna get in trouble. And so it'll be interesting to see. Is he gonna be a bad guy? Is he gonna be the penguin we know or a bad penguin? But the thing that I think is very, very important to think about, if you are going to follow this comic and you want to see where it's going, at the end, the big spoiler, close your ears if you don't know. So the Joker's in it. And the important thing is not that the Joker's in it, but it's where the Joker is. He's at a semiconductor facility in the Philippines. And before that, he was in Singapore. So what's he doing there? He's a billionaire. So he's not the kind of, guy who he's got means. And what you have to wonder is he going to like take over all the semiconductors and try to cause chaos by creating a shortage? Or is he going to, I think what would be more likely is for him to take them and somehow use them to create chaos. Like if he is making all or most of the, if he's making all or most of the semiconductors, then who knows what kind of stuff he could do. He could get into some real trouble. Gosh, I really wanted to use this little mic, but it's being weird. Why are you doing that? So I'm interested to see what happens with the Joker. I'm interested to see what happens with Alfred. Alfred is in this. I don't know. It seems like a shadowy government organization, but is it some criminal enterprise? They talk about when Maroni and Falcone um, are talking to the Black Mask. They say they know he's in this Illuminati thing, and so you got to wonder: is that some kind of enormous criminal enterprise, and Alfred is in a competing criminal enterprise, or is he in some like weird CIA type global thing where they're just maybe watching people destabilize areas and not really caring? Because the weird thing is they don't want him to get in the way of Black Mask and the Party Animals gang, but they're totally cool. Hey, by the way, let me know if you can't hear this very well, because I'm very curious about that. I'm also curious if this about how this live chat works. Is it good, or is it bad, or is it weird? I don't know. I think Black Mask, just to continue down the list of characters, is much more interesting than he's typically been. He's not the way that I generally think of him, as almost being like he's either got that really scary mask or he's that really old school gangstery type of guy. But this one, he's very almost humorous in a very twisted way. The way that he has this so-called doctor of musicology who's playing loud music while he's talking to Maroni and Falcone, and then um, he shows them the masks, the death masks, shows them their brother and cousin, and then they're dead. And I don't know, are they dead? Or I'm sorry, is that his kid that killed him? Or it's because he said kid. I guess maybe he was talking to the kid, not talking to the girl, but then the girl's the one that killed him. I don't know. That scene was a little bit kind of strange to me. And I also wonder what happened to this weird, bleak landscape that we saw in the All In Special. At the end of All In Special #1, There's Booster Gold ends up going into the absolute universe and he sees this crazy red sky apocalyptic world. But now in absolute Gotham seems totally normal. So is there maybe Booster Gold? He's a time traveling dude. Maybe he was traveling through time and somehow ended up towards the end of the whole thing. But it doesn't feel, even though it's got that being driven by whatever dark side energy, even though it's driven by that, it still doesn't feel that bad. I mean, in fact, if you think about it, Bruce Wayne's still got a mom. I mean, it's kind of better for him. So, I mean, yeah, he's probably gonna when he meets the other Bruce Wayne, they'll have something to talk about. Maybe the other Bruce Wayne will get to meet his adult mom. That would be that would be cool. There's a lot of things that they can do with this. I don't know if they're going to or if they're going to have time to. I think that they should because people have apparently been loving it. It's sold out. I was talking to the guys at the comic store today. They said everybody's loving it, everybody's buying it. So I think that's a good sign. But I really want to see, first of all, this play out. I want to see what is the Joker doing? What's he going to do with these semiconductors? I know that semiconductors, those are the chips. They use those in AI, I think. Doesn't I think Nvidia makes those? Who knows what who knows what semiconductors are all about? What's the Joker doing at a semiconductor factory? Nobody knows. Or if you do know, you're not telling me. You're keeping it a secret. Rude. Well, I'd like to take a break just to say that I'm proud of myself. I made it 17 minutes so far, and nobody's even here. That's a dedication. And I am dedicated as absolute Batman and Bruce Wayne. Um, I mean, you really, if you've read the comic once, you might want to read it again because there are so many great things to notice, and it's a lot better than I read this one. Did you? Anybody read the new Batman and Robin? They got a new creative team. See that? Uh, Kind of weird tonally. This one. It's like just let's say it's not nearly as good as what we got going on with Absolute Batman, but it's kind of almost they've got like a thing going where it's a little bit like a sad or not a sad, it's like a weird sitcom because you've got Damien, you've got Robin who's upset about being at this event, and then at the same time you've got these people setting everything on fire, so it's kind of like tonally inconsistent. So I can't recommend that one necessarily, but maybe it'll get better. Now, one thing I am excited about, you might not be able to tell how excited I am because I haven't opened it yet, but maybe that's why I haven't opened it. Maybe I'm so excited I don't want the excitement to end. But it's Blade Red Band. Looks pretty good. Um, but Absolute Batman, that's got to be the most fun comic I've read this year. I have to admit I'm more of a DC guy. I've not read Ultimate Spider-Man yet, but apparently that's pretty good. I don't know if it could be as good as Absolute Batman. Maybe for me as like an old man it would be because apparently Peter Parker's like 40. Uh, but this Absolute Universe thing, I am really I thought the Batman was going to be the second best. I thought Wonder Woman was going to be best, and it still may be. And I figured Superman was going to be the worst, but now I just so underestimated Absolute Batman that I don't even feel like I can trust my own instincts anymore. It was so much better than I thought it was going to be. And I mean, what do you do? Do you, well, what, I guess it doesn't matter. I already got them. I'm subscribed, got them on my pull list. So I'm going to get them and I'm going to read them and, uh, and then I'm going to tell you about them. But I think that's about all I can say about it this time. So I'll catch you on the flip side.